Chapter 30. Nala. Excited, confused, relieved, joyous. Nala couldn't find the right word for what she was feeling right now. Shocked. Shocked was a good one. Seeing Simba in the flesh, healthy and alive, seemed to have triggered every emotion she had ever experienced, setting them into motion within her all at once. Her mind kept going back to the moment when she had turned around and set her eyes on him for the first time in 6 months. This friend who she thought was gone forever, right here in front of her. Well, he wasn't right here just now. He was back at the grotto with Scar, which was where she wanted to be. After being away from him for so long, it was difficult to leave Simba's side for even a minute. Nala figured that was why she was having such a hard time focusing on the breathtaking beauty surrounding her. It felt as if she had been waiting her whole life to see this place. She needed to take advantage of this opportunity before they set out on the journey home. As she passed through a draping moss that hung from large trees, her breath caught. It truly was paradise, its lush valleys and flowing rivers as different from the parched land surrounding Pride Rock as one could get. Timon and Pumbaa pointed out different spots along their walk that related to Simba in some way. The log where he'd fallen and bumped his head, his favorite tree to sleep under. Nala had a hard time processing it all. He had started a new life here without her and his pride, and based on what she could gather from his new friends, it didn't seem as if Simba had been making plans to leave any time soon. New emotions began to emerge: hurt, bewilderment, and just a touch of anger. They had always hoped to come here together. Had he really been prepared to disregard their friendship, to leave her at Pride Rock waiting and wondering? Timon picked a plump worm from the bark of a downed tree and popped it into his mouth. "Yeah, the kid was a mess when he first came here," he said around his noisy chewing. "But I told Pumbaa that we couldn't just leave him to his own devices. You know what I mean?" Sure," Nala said. "Actually, no, I don't," she corrected. "What do you mean when you say he was a mess? Was he sick?" "I guess you could say that," Timon said. "He was sick with worry about something terrible that happened just before he came here. But I could never get the kid to talk about it. So I told him to put the past behind him and move on." Something terrible that happened. Nala wondered if Simba had seen what happened to his father after all. Witnessing such a horrible event would be devastating for anyone, but especially for Simba, who had been so close to their king. But it still didn't explain why he hadn't returned to Pride Rock. She wouldn't get any answers walking around with Timon and Pumbaa. She wanted to get back to Simba. "Maybe we should go back to the grotto," Nala said. "What? We haven't even seen the big waterfall yet," Timon said. "Now that's the kid's favorite place in the entire forest. He floats on his back like a fish. Come on, we'll show you." It would be rude to leave them, and Scar had asked for some alone time with Simba. She could only imagine the emotions Scar was experiencing, discovering that the nephew he thought had died with his brother was actually alive. They deserved a few minutes to catch up. But Nala didn't care. She had put too much into this quest to find her best friend. She would give Scar and Simba space on their return journey to Pride Rock. Nala glanced over at her guides. Timon was rambling on about the time Simba had rolled into an ant pile, with Pumbaa blithely adding commentary. Zazu had joined them. He continued to pepper them with questions about the weather, the predator-to-prey ratio, and other stuff she wasn't interested in. She was betting that they were all too distracted to notice her slipping away. She slowed her pace, then stopped walking altogether. None of them seemed to notice she was no longer traveling alongside them. Nala turned and quickly backtracked, making her way to the grotto. She had not yet turned the corner of the slick stone wall that led to the sea cave, but she could hear Scar speaking to Simba. "I know this is difficult to hear, but Pride Rock has truly thrived under my leadership, Simba. The lions and hyenas live together in perfect harmony. There's more food than we can eat. What? Nala had certain she had heard wrong. The current state of Pride Rock was the opposite of what he was describing to Simba. She rounded the stone wall and found the two huddled together, with Scar's left front leg draped over Simba's shoulders. If you were to return, not only would it break your mother's heart to learn what you did to Mufasa, but it would not be good for the pride, Scar said. Nala was about to speak when she saw Scar reaching for a rock with his hind leg. He scooted it toward his front paw. Everything started to click into place. She recalled how Scar's interest in coming to Karamba had grown when he'd learned of Rafiki's vision, and how he had lashed out at Zazu when the bird mentioned going back to Pride Rock to inform Sarabi once Nala had told them about her and Simba's plans to visit. She wondered why Scar wouldn't want Sarabi to know about Simba. Nala suddenly realized what was happening. "Simba! Watch out!" Nala screamed just as Scar lifted at the rock. Her scream must have shocked them both because Simba and Scar both turned at her call. Nala saw the moment Simba noticed the rock in his uncle's paw. He froze, his eyes bulging, but then he ran, scrambling on the slick rock bed surrounding the cave. Scar took off after him, his face wearing a look of pure evil. For a few seconds, Nala was too shocked to move. Scar had just tried to kill Simba right in front of her very eyes. He was still trying. The two darted past her, charging towards the area from where she had just returned. Nala's heart jumped into her throat. The terror of everything that was happening threatened to overwhelm her, but she didn't have time to be scared. She had just found her friend again. She wasn't about to lose him. "Zazu! Timon! Pumbaa!" She sprinted after Scar and Simba, yelling for the others to join her. She found Simba and Scar engaged in an uneven battle. Simba tried to hold Scar off, but his uncle was more than twice his size. He was quickly overpowering Simba. "No!" Nala screamed when Scar pinned Simba to a tree by his neck. Simba's short legs kicked chaotically, but it was obvious that he was losing the ability to breathe. "What's going on here?" Timon asked. Nala turned to them and nearly collapsed in relief, but this was no time for collapsing. This was the time to fight. "Come on!" she screamed and charged after Scar. Nala attacked with everything she had within her, sinking her claws into Scar's back and biting so hard on his shoulder that she felt her teeth pierce his skin. He loosened his hold on Simba, dropping him. Then he reared back, releasing an awful roar. He twisted and turned, trying to shake her. Nala heard the patter of hooves, pounding the dirt seconds before Scar thrust forwards and howled. She took a moment to glance over her shoulder and saw Pumbaa backing up, only to ram Scar again with his pointy tusks. Timon had clamped onto his right leg and Simba had his left. Both were tearing into him. Zazu had landed on Scar's head and was pecking it with his beak so hard that Nala could hear him hitting bone. She continued her attack, scratching at his flesh, tearing his skin with her teeth. She used the techniques Abena had taught her to hunt her most unexpected prey, the leader of their pride. Make that the former leader. The rightful leader of their pride was currently taking a piece out of Scar's leg. They were unrelenting in their assault, keeping it going until Scar went limp. "Is he dead?" Simba asked. "I don't think so," Nala said. She looked over at her best friend. "We're not like him. We don't have to kill him. But we need to get away from him," Zazu said. He was right. "Come on," Nala said, and they all took off running.